Hello. So, this is a full Friendlocke Lore video. Because at the end of last stream, they said, we don't want that meme Friendlocke video, we want the full-on Friendlocke Lore video. So this is actually done in one take because of life and work stuff. The life stuff is procrastination because I procrastinate a lot. And like literally, if there's any images in this video, it's because I learned video editing like in a day. Let's just go down the list of talking about the Pokemon because we gotta do this quick. So first off, we got Tracy the Mudkip. Tracy is the starter, and therefore was raised by Professor Birch, who we can all agree is the hottest professor. She has a lot of confidence. She at the beginning she has not a lot of confidence with herself, but she gets better after the first battle. She even like gets a gun. Oh, it's a water gun. Wow, look at that. It's uh, Tracy was very optimistic, very energetic. Got everyone together. Even while at Professor Birch's lab, she learned about Five Nights at Freddy's, but she'd never actually played it. Uh, Someone else who was in the lab was young Trico. They were probably looking at many bad things. Uh, tr- Meanwhile, eventually at Flannery's like hot lesbian gym, Tracy was killed by a turtle who used charms on her, and Tracy's loss is the start of the real journey of Friendlocke Season 1, uh, uh, where everybody gets sad sometimes. I'm sorry, I am tired. I only got a few hours of sleep. And then we get to Gerber, who is the first caught in Season 1, and also arguably has the best character. Also has arguably has the best character arc in the Friendlocke series. Gerber is a thick Pushiana who eventually evolves into a thick Mightyana, and some foreshadowing happens at the very beginning, because they're talking about their favorite Gen 3 Pokemon. You know who Gerber says? Gerber says Trico. Gerber says Trico is his favorite Gen 3 Pokemon, and that is some foreshadowing. He gets picked on a lot throughout the entire run. Derek makes him kill his family. He almost dies to Shroomish. He tries to give Gerber to Wally. Uh, he forms a rivalry with Mal as well, and that is funny and lasts throughout the season. And I forget, but I know it was somewhere. I couldn't find it again. It was his promise to Derek that it would be you and me to the end. And that promise, it will come up later. But Gerber, when he first fights Maze Grovyle, uh, he beats him, and the Grovyle is then insulted by being called Burger King foot lettuce. And later on, that Grovyle comes back and gets his revenge, and then you just get this scene of Derek frantically digging through his bag for healing items while the Grovyle keeps swinging his blade, and Gerber keeps taking hits and just backing up and begging Derek that he doesn't want to die. And then Derek at one point back looks up from his bag with another potion to see that like one scene from Final Fantasy where like Cloud gets impaled on Sephiroth's sword, except instead of that it's like Gerber impaled on the Grovyle sword. And the last thing Gerber sees is Derek screaming. Meanwhile, Gerber is a young Oddish living in the Safari Zone with like his family. Safe from most predators, it's a simple life. Occasionally trainers come through. They normally don't pick the Oddishes though. But one day a trainer comes in, and Gerber the Oddish sees the trainer and remembers everything about his like past life, and he remembers the promise that he's supposed to keep to Derek, and decides to go and stay with him again. Well, everybody's happy to see him. They still make fun of him. He's a little baby man, little small man, little man with no attacks. Uh, he eventually gets stronger and wipes the floor with the champion of Hoenn, just absolutely demolishes him, and he kept his promise to Derek, you and me, to the end. Uh, that is Gerber season 1's character arc, and it is amazing. I now realize that if I explain every Pokemon in a lot of detail like this, it is going to take. This is going to be an hour-long video. So I'm just gonna start explaining these faster. Sarah the Lotad has the same name in both seasons. In season 1, Sarah likes to crochet and is outgoing and was kind of a pacifist at the start, but eventually started kicking ass. Uh, her and Claire are the best friends, and she was friends with Collin. Collin died though, and so she got angry. She carries around Claire like on her head, and it's adorable. Meanwhile, in season 2, Sarah is a shy skunk tank who is still pacifist and had a one-sided love for Claire. Claire didn't notice, but after Claire died, she became a very more secluded and subdued. I mean, if you can even call like the shy self before, or you thought that the shy self before was secluded, but now it's a lot more secluded. Season 2, Gerber tries to make her his cam girl, and she reluctantly accepts, possibly due to wanting anything. Meanwhile, season 2, Tracy the Altaria is a clown who tries to keep everyone's mood up, but knows when to put away the jokes. An adorable squeaky cloud that makes me want to hug her. Just generally a traveling clown that wants to make everyone happy, and it's kind of sad. 'Cause like everybody's just feeling sad. She's just trying to do her best to make everyone happy. Uh, Season 2 Gerber, the Magnazone, is a YouTuber with multiple channels and quote unquote millions of fans. He's also the worst kind of YouTuber. Like, if Gerber Magnazone was real, he would be canceled for all time. And I mean, I don't know how he wouldn't be canceled. Then again, people forgave Logan Paul, people forgave James Charles, so I don't know. Uh, so, he also had a falling out with his cousin Gabby in the Hoenn region, and he likes to mess with people a lot. Mal the Merrill is the kind of friend who loves Taco Bell. She loves it in the Baja Blast. She's a kind of girl that you'd want to hang out with. She fell in love with Collin during the journey, and they actually had a child while at the daycare, and that actually makes me wonder if that child will ever show up in the future, maybe in a later season. Ooh. Season 2, Mao, the Lopunny, had a family that she was already on the way to go to before she was just added to Derek's collection. uh, but when she joined the party, she cared for Jay like he was family. She doesn't normally go on like the internet, and so she was told things like MILF means mother I love fun. And yeah, that was nice. And so at one point during the clay fight, she got cut down by the Excadrill, and that devastated young small Jay. Season 1, Claire is a shroomish, and is one of the snarkiest yet friendliest people in the season. She's got some very long legs and is best friends with Sarah, who gives her rides. She also likes to eat dirt. And something interesting is that every time she's in the box, someone died. Season 2, Claire the Manetric is more focused on becoming the best Pokemon. She wants to be the very best, like no one ever was. And while the people around her joke, she is more focused on attempting to win the gyms and the Pokemon League and other things. And just as she's coming out of her cold shell to warm up to a shy Skuntank who can't say she loves her, her midsection is actually made warm by a fire punch straight through it. And they hold a funeral for her at the wheel where she died. She's actually the first death instead of in season 1 where she didn't, and where she felt bad that she did die. Season 1, Joe the Whismer used to live with Derek. That's right, Season 1 Whismer actually also lived with Derek in the Pokemon world, not just in real life. Uh, uh, Derek eventually found him again as a Wurmple, as a Whismer on a different route from that other Wurmple that never existed. That Wurmple never existed. And yeah, he eventually, over the course of the season, grew to be the tank of the party and loves to battle and is also absolutely huge. He is a huge Pokemon. He is a big Pokemon. And Joe was actually kind of disappointed when they beat the Elite Four without him, because like he wanted to be in the Elite Four battle. In Season 2, though, Joe is a Lampent who can speak to the dead. He was the first Pokemon caught to help Jay, who was a pacifist. For being a ghost, Joe's very friendly, but he has to be the shoulder to lean on early on due to him being a fighter and not Jay. Not only can Joe speak to the dead, he can also see them. And he has a phone as well. He's a ghost with a phone ghost. He sets a lot of things on fire, including Castelia City's gym, and so they have to hightail it out of there. And we can only speculate on who Joe was before he became a Lampent. In the Salty's second Pixelmon stream, he said that soon he would reveal who he was before he became a Lampent. Which made him read a chat message that said, Joe, don't have a character or you'll die. He was then the only Pokemon to die in the next stream to a member of Team Plasma. We'll never know who Joe was before he became a Lampent. And remember, if you have a character arc, you're probably gonna die. Season 1 Kenny is Sableye, a Sableye with a lisp and a frequent user of Reddit. That's not a lisp, that's a Russian accent. He likes Season 2 Joe can also talk to the dead for some reason, and is a rude member of the team. He thinks Team Rocket is based, and likes many bad things, but he is a strong member of the team. Also, after Season 1, he, for some reason, was visiting Unova and went to Celestial Tower. He called out to Derek, but he kept running for some reason. In Season 2, we were introduced to a Darumaka with no name that gifted Derek a flower crown, and the group named him Kringo Fuck. Despite being one of the strong members of the team, he just wants to make flower crowns. And he's been put into the position of the rock of the party with his evolution and also Joe's death. Pasty Season 1 is an Electrike who slacks off, kind of like me making this last minute. He's also a jerk with little empathy, and despite that, he's kind of tolerable. But he's too lazy to evolve, so he dies. Meanwhile, Season 2 Pasty is a Ninetales, who is much more likable. He's the stereotype of the evil wizard. He reminds me of, like, Vigar from, like, League of Legends. He acts evil, but like he shows concern about like how young Pokemon trainers are. And so like he's kind of getting the character arc. Oh no, wait. Oh no, he's getting a character arc. Season 1, Collin is an Illumise who is treated horribly. He's the lover of Mal, and they had a child together. His cousin's named Brady. We don't know much about Brady right now, but we'll learn more as the series goes on. Hopefully, Brady doesn't die. Uh, Collin is a smoker, and at the very end of the series, he is used for recon. And at this point, I want to talk about Derek a bit, because in Season 1, it is more lighthearted, but Derek does not treat his Pokemon well. Uh, Derek is losing Pokemon throughout Season 1, and I feel at that point, Derek snaps and wants someone dying to be in his control for once. And so he takes Collin into one final fight against the first member of the Elite Four, and Collin drags it out as long as possible to just hold it to Derek for doing this to him. And so Collin dies, and Derek is feeling fine. Season 2, Collin the Palpito dude. He's a surfer dude and also a water type, so we're definitely going to see more of him. But now we get to the shonen protagonist man himself, Mikey. Season 1 Mikey was a Geodude when caught, and both seasons Mikey's have them signature Kamina glasses. Season 1 Mikey from the start was looking for a good way to die with a signature move, Ultimate Explosion. And unlike other anime characters who like using Explosion, he actually uses other moves. Also, while he is a strong fighter and looking for a good way to die, he's insecure about people looking at his nipples. He also kills chat form with magnitude 10, causing something to happen to eventually turn it into Chat Quasar. But when they get to that final battle, he uses his signature move to take out Chat Quasar, so it's alright. Then we get to MIKEYDEEZ, baby! He is the hero of the run. He goes into Clay's gym for round 2 and sweeps. He's a kleptomaniac stealing hats to add to his championship belt, and he has a cape. He's also a lot nicer than in Season 1, because he doesn't want to kill his friends. Instead, he avenges them. He lives life on the edge. He is a champion. And both times he is caught, he says, Baba Booey. Season 1 is Season 1 Jay is a Numal who likes anime and cookies and stuff. And when he evolves, which was very painful, he becomes a cowboy, complete with his 10-gallon cat and cowboy accent. 10-gallon hat. I mean, not 10-gallon cat. What is a 10-gallon cat? But meanwhile, Jay, Season 2 is the starter, who is an Igglybuff. As the starter, Jay should have time to learn how to fight, but at Juniper's lab, Juniper never taught any of the starters actually how to fight. And so it's because of that, Jay is a pacifist who does not like to fight. And through the first part of Season 2, he has to rely on others to do stuff for him. And so they treat him like a baby, and Mal even carries him around. And when he's starting to get stronger, everyone he cares about starts dying around him. And, like, even the Clay fight, he was like, yeah, you guys can beat Clay. I know you got this. But then they all died, and so he feels guilty about it. But when Joe dies, Derek breaks, and he doesn't want to lose Jay as well. Jay didn't want to evolve into Wigglytuff because he wanted to better his singing voice. But then Joe died in front of him, so he conceded with Derek, who was begging for him to evolve. Him and Pasty are the only left of the original 6, and I don't know if Jay or Derek could take it if Pasty dies. Onee is a coughing that is a stoner, and he grows to wheezing and forms a friendship with Chrissy. He doesn't have a lot of battles he's in, but he steals the screen when he's on. Him and Christy had a friendly relationship where he introduced Chrissy to the wonders of the internet, like Feet and Vor. Uh, Red Season 1 gets the least screen time out of anyone, puts on a creepy voice, and then gets some of the least screen time out of anyone. Red puts on a creepy voice and then soon dies. If only Red was a bird with a liking for sauerkraut. Sauerkraut has 7 ex-wives and a few ex-husbands, also bullied by his siblings. Also, Lemons killed his mom, and one of his daughters went off to fight in a war. Which means that the great Pokemon lore that Lieutenant Surge fought in was probably very recent, if we're thinking about it. Sauerkraut, as his name implies, is allergic to sauerkraut, but not too allergic, because then it would be sad. But due to so many things happening to him, he's got this, like, Eeyore persona, very depressed. But sometimes, unlike Eeyore, he can be very rude. He is one of the ones to go into the clay fight where he died. He was the last to die. He witnessed everybody die before him, and it was kind of sad. Forest the Altaria is creepy, to put it mildly. It's a Furby-looking dream thing. It will speak through text-to-speech and will haunt your dreams. It won't haunt your dreams anymore, actually. It died in the Elite Four. Forest is a wee little dwebble who, like, 2 inches high. Forest also has a thing for Pokeballs, like, oh no, don't catch me, don't want to go into Pokeball, don't do it. Forest has a fur affinity, and is a beast who can survive most attacks because of sturdy, so we'll probably see Forest a lot in close calls. Monsters is a spoink with the personality of Borat. He acts just like Borat. He makes up acronyms for funny memes like BDSM bikes do so much. When he evolves into Grumpig, he's back to normal briefly. He's just monsters. Before the spirit of Borat takes over, which calls into question many things. Is Borat in the Pokemon world the possessive spirit? Like, does Borat possess people? This is a question I need answered, because I don't know. Like, when Monster's body eventually dies, will Borat possess someone else? It's a weird question. And then we get to Pete Ness, and Sauerkraut has nothing on Pete Ness, who has 35 ex-wives. Probably about to be 36 with Juniper. Don't question it. It's the Friendlocke. Don't question it. He also has 75 children, and the reason he has so many wives is because he's the top 1% of all Pokemon. But he has bad personality. That's probably why the 35 X's. He's also the king of cutaway gags, and so I'm ready for the Friendlocke YouTube edits for a few of the cutaway gags to actually be put in as cutaways. Now we get to 2 directly related characters, Chrissy and her granddaughter Cosmic. The story of Chrissy is a tragedy. She spent her early life wandering around the world with John Lennon and the Beatles. Beatles don't exist in Pokemon, so we're going with Weedles. The Weedles. And she fell in love with Ringo Starr's Jirachi, who we'll talk about later. Her and Jirachi had an egg shortly before John Lennon was shot and killed in Castelia City by a lowland native, Mark David Chapman. Yoko Ono, seeing her husband's corpse bleeding on the street every time she saw Chrissy, released her into the wild. There she wandered the desert, where she sent letters back to home to her family through what I only can assume is the Pelipper Post, Quick aside, in like Mystery Dungeon, in the Mystery Dungeon series, Pelipers can deliver mail to people, which I only assume is how her family got the letters. She eventually found a trainer and sent one last letter before joining her new family. She learned about the internet and all its wonders and what had happened all those years since she went into the desert. Grew in strength alongside them, made jokes. Like how one of the dogs would die. Pasty and Gerber both died that night. uh, on Victory Road, she was killed when a Gardevoir used Psychic to slam her into a cave wall. Your granny loves you were her final words. In that last moment, your granny loves you. Which family was she talking about? The Jirachi who she was with, who had raised her children and grandchildren that she never saw, or her ragtag new bunch that had reintroduced her to the world? She was talking to both, and that's sad. Then we get to Cosmic, who is Chrissy's granddaughter, born to a Sandslash father and Luxray mother. Throughout Cosmic's childhood, she had heard of the adventures her grandmother Jirachi went on. She had occasionally received letters from her grandmother. She grew up doing exercise and disguise. She one day had a dream. She wanted to start her own gym, a gym she could run and help others be fit. She hadn't received another letter from her grandmother in a long time, so she took the last letter her grandmother sent and left Sinnoh to seek her dream in Unova. There she met a young trainer, unknowing that this trainer was the last person her grandmother saw. She decided to travel with him and to train at other gyms so she could start her own one day and be strong enough to lead it. She's a jock who cares for her teammates, and every battle she is in, she will push herself to the limit, because that's how Cosmic is. Gabby Season 1 is a Magnemite who nearly dies after being caught, nearly dies to May's wounds, and feels guilty about Gerber dying in his place. Gabby is everyone's favorite gay magnet, and he has a crush on Steven Stone, and also likes beauty pageants. He had a falling out with his Magnezone cousin Gerber, for obvious reasons. Maybe they're not so obvious. Maybe they had a falling out over something else. But we don't know that right now. Season 2 Gabby is a Cherim with a strong Brooklyn accent. He also calls Castelia City by what the locals call it, New York City. He's from New York. He's also a gay performer in the Mombasa Pokemon musical. He did 2 performances there. He's also kind of a little racist. He does a little racism, kinda. Against Patrats. He also died in the clay fight when he was slashed through by Excadrill. And unlike the others, like the others, they accepted their death when it happened. He died screaming, and like I just imagine like the rest, they're like, and then they die. Like they're like Mal was like, I'm sorry. Like he was like, no, and just died. Jay didn't get a lot of screen time. Chose not to evolve from a tentacle and died almost the same way as Pasty. But Jay was a shiny though, so you gotta catch Jay. He's a shiny. Jay's a shiny. Jay's a shiny. I gotta catch him. Jay Season 2 is named No Idea No. I don't know anything else. I have no idea about anything else. That's right, No Idea No. The Lark was a character I think most people wish they got to know better. A seer who was also into the theater. He would have done great at the Pokemon musical, and I feel like when they first meet the Lark on the YouTube side, of like the edited videos, we should include like a vision of the future of them screaming during the clay fight, but only let one name come out of the cacophony of voices, Churmy. And then it cuts back to him and he says the line, "Something terrible will happen to someone named Churmy." and I feel like in that context, it it gives more like feeling of fate, and it feels like it was destined to happen. Hannah died in 2013 and somehow became fossilized because of it. She was a young girl with Flappy Bird on her iPhone, which was also frozen in time with her. And so she was a young girl who was happy and stuff. But after the time skip, after the third stream, she became more mature and started doing stuff like cursing. Brady dude is the cousin of Collin. He's Immolus, the Illumise, who was visiting Celestial Tower, and we'll discuss Derek's reaction later. Chat is not a hive mind during these streams. A hive mind would be many bodies with one singular consciousness. Chat is more of a D&D Mercury dragon, many individuals controlling one body. Chat form was killed by Mikey in its first battle, and it's still unknown what made Chat turn into Chat Quasar. What being did it? A few are still in the camp that it was Mr. Apple, but the Friendlocke crew deconfirmed that, so I don't know who it could be. Chermy, on the other hand, was a omen. The moment Chermy was brought out of the daycare, the people going to fight Clay's fates were sealed. The Lark's warning fell on deaf ears. And when Chermy begged the rest of the party not to go to Clay, they didn't listen. Only then did we turn to Gerber in our final moments. Father, we fought as hard as we could, but the prophecy of death had been fulfilled. We were dead the moment we left the daycare. Now we get to the man himself, Derek. Derek in Season 2 has been getting more unstable. His witnessing of his friends' deaths at what he thinks are his hands alone weigh upon him heavily. On Stream 4, this can be seen especially. Joe dying made him snap at Jay and literally beg Jay to evolve. He held the stone out in front of him, tears in his eyes, begging Jay to evolve. It only got worse when he got to Celestial Tower, and the Pokemon in there he saw made him break. He saw an Illumise that made the weight of his sins crawl upon his back. He gets to the top and rings the bell. And he doesn't know this, but normally in Nuzlocke, ringing the bell allows you to say goodbye to the dead one last time. He sees the grave of friends he's lost, and a letter from Chrissy that finally makes him leave. And because he rang the bell, he hears the voices of the dead, and it agonizes him. He thinks Kenny's dead, and so that also is agonizing. But really, Kenny's just at Celestial Tower right now. He's visiting, and Derek's kind of being rude to not notice him, not answer his DMs. If next stream Derek is still able to stand, then he is stronger than most that would be in that situation. I was about to end it on something else, but let's go rapid fire through some humans. N is an idealistic hypocrite who plays too much Friday Night Funkin' and can speak to Pokemon. Older can also speak to Pokemon, and that can be seen when he speaks to Sauerkraut. And Sharon is confused on how Derek can speak to Pokemon. And Clay is the kind of person to raid the Capitol on January 6th and brag about it. Now we get to the final part of this, which is the reincarnation. Reincarnation doesn't mean what you think it means. I believe that reincarnation is all in the Pokemon world. Most Pokemon will reincarnate. It's only that they don't remember. They don't remember their past life, as is with reincarnation. Somehow, though, Gerber remembered his past life when he saw Salty. It's not known how, but he did. Derek said there is no way to do the reincarnation rule ever again. But canonically, there is a lore-friendly way that it could happen. And that is the final character we're going to talk about. Jirachi. Jirachi is the partner of Ringo Starr. When Ringo was young, he met Jirachi during his week-long wake. Jirachi wakes once 1 week every 1,000 years. And the first wish that was used was by a young Ringo Starr to allow him to roam the world for as long as Ringo Starr lives. He became Ringo's partner, and they eventually formed the Weedles with the other members. Jirachi's second wish was made by his lover, Chrissy, who wished for Jirachi to be able to have children. Because normally, legendaries are infertile. And so, the second wish made Jirachi fertile. Please do not draw art of that. Please do not draw Jirachi x Chrissy art of that. That is... You can draw Jirachi x Chrissy art, but not Jirachi x Chrissy art of that. However, Jirachi's last wish has never been used. There's still one last wish that you could use from Jirachi. And you can use it for anything, from bringing back a sandwich to bringing back someone. However, to reach Jirachi, you need a few things. The first thing is Cosmic. Cosmic is the granddaughter of Jirachi, and presumably keeps in touch with him from her journey. If Cosmic were to ever die, though, Jirachi can erase people from existence, so you should watch out for that. And secondly, don't let them know what happened to Chrissy while she was with you. Both of them would not forgive you at all. Cosmic would be mad at you, Jirachi would just snap you out of existence, and that would end badly. But to use Jirachi's last wish to bring someone back, that is the final way that you can do reincarnation. And that is the Friendlocke lore summed up in how many minutes? Almost 40 minutes of me talking about Friendlocke lore. Oh boy. Alright, this is me signing off. Goodbye.